like cars? If so, Forza Motorsport 3 is the game for you. In fact, provided you don't hate cars, Forza Motorsport 3 is the game for you. Turn 10 Studios' latest racer tries to be a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and the great news is that it succeeds at just about every turn. Forza Motorsport 3 is a bigger and better game than its predecessor in every way imaginable, and while it's not flawless, it's way ahead of the competition. Doesn't matter how good you are behind the wheel, you can find a difficulty level and a handling mold to suit you. The default settings for your first race include a number of driving assists. These include stuff like anti-lock brakes, traction control, and a dynamic racing line that shows you exactly where you should be on the track at all times. You'll want to gradually turn these off as you progress through career mode and get better at the game, in part because doing so increases the amount of credits that you can win. Career mode is divided up into seasons, each comprising a World Championship that spans several races, and a number of smaller events that take place between those races. You don't get to choose which championships you're entered into, you do get to choose which smaller events to take part in though. And the options you're presented with are determined, at least in part, by the cars that you own. You might even find that you're able to use one or two of your cars in events that they far exceed the maximum performance restrictions for. So this competition trivializing bug doesn't rear its head very often. Racing against the AI in career mode, you'll find that your opponents are believable and competitive for the most part. They jostle for position, they look for openings when other drivers falter, and they know when to back off if their attempt at an overtake starts looking dodgy. Just occasionally though, they'll make such silly mistakes that you'll swear they must have fallen asleep at the wheel, which makes beating them a little less satisfying. It's also slightly less satisfying to cross the finish line first if you felt the need to use Forza 3's new rewind feature during a race, though it's a great, if unoriginal, addition to the game regardless. If you consider yourself a purist, you might feel inclined to look down on this new feature and on anyone who uses it, and that's fine, because you don't have to use it if you don't want to, and nobody is ever going to have the option of using it while racing with you online. Furthermore, leaderboards clearly display which assists every driver was using when they recorded their posted lap times. So, if you turn off your stability control and don't use the rewind, your time will appear above that of someone who used them, even if your time is slower. As in Forza 2, your winnings in Forza 3 can be used to buy new cars either direct from manufacturers or from other players via an auction house. It seems unlikely that Forza 3's auction house will be the hive of activity that Forza 2's was though, because paint jobs, vinyl designs, and even tuning setups can all be bought individually now from player storefronts. Forza 3's car models look fantastic in their showroom and real-world race liveries, but even prior to the game's release, it's the designs being created by the community that are really making them pop. If you're familiar with the design tools in Forza 2, you might be disappointed, or at least surprised to learn, that they really haven't changed much in Forza 3. You still work primarily with geometric shapes and generic-looking icons, and it still takes a lot of work to create something worthwhile. It's time well spent though, and because there's now an option to create designs on a perfectly flat surface before applying them to a car, you no longer have to use the roof of a Mini Cooper for a canvas. If you're more inclined to spend your time racing than playing with geometric shapes, there's still no reason you can't have great looking cars. Just make sure you win enough credits to buy all of the designs you want. Whether you're racing in your single player career or online with up to 7 opponents, all of your winnings go into the same pot, and so do your experience points. Leveling up in Forza 3 doesn't benefit you in the same way that you might expect it to in other genres, but every time you reach a new level you are awarded a new car. So that can be a strong incentive to keep playing long after you've told yourself just one more race. Online play was one of Forza 2's greatest strengths, and the same is true here. It doesn't matter if you're looking to enjoy a private session with friends or hop into a race with random opponents. Getting your car onto the starting grid could hardly be easier, and it's hard to imagine how the racing could be any better. Even in multiplayer, detailed environments from all over the world fly by at speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour without ever posing a threat to the frame rate. In addition to regular races, online options include drag and drift events, as well as 3 different tag variants, elimination races, and team-based cat and mouse competitions. Forza 3's presentation is uniformly excellent across every aspect of the game. The menus are clean and intuitive, the in-game visuals never fail to impress, and the default audio options prioritize the satisfying roar of a car's engine over the 30-plus licensed tunes playing in the background. Not only does it make simulation-style racing accessible to anyone with the inclination to give it a try, but it looks and sounds superb doing it, and manages to foster an unusually strong sense of community along the way. If you have any interest whatsoever in racing games, even if you've never played one before, you'd do well to pay a visit to your local video game showroom and become a member of the Forza Motorsport 3 Owners Club at your earliest convenience.